Just yesterday, we covered this story of a madman, a terrorist, a hateful person, a murderer that went and killed a 6-year-old Palestinian boy, Wadea Al-Fayoume. Apologies as I mispronounce many names throughout this. So as we already know how tragic it was and how it culminated and came to an end, what we hadn't seen, which many I'm sure have not seen, is some of the motivations behind this attack. And they've come out that assailant's name is Joseph Czuba, and he stabbed that boy to death and attempted to kill his mother as well. So here's some of those, probably, I would assume to many folks, obvious details of what was behind it. Czuba, the boy's mother, told investigators, was an angry man. His wife, Mary, told investigators that he listens to conservative talk radio on a regular basis and became obsessed with the war between Hamas and Israel. So again, there's the connections that he makes don't, obviously, normal thinking people don't make these connections, but when you know folks think this way, and then you have pundits and politicians that say certain things that drive them to action behind those thoughts, maybe it's something we can pay attention to. It's why we talk about this to the degree that we do, because we know people get killed every day and there's tragic events, but when it's motivated by something like this and we know there's a connection, maybe chill the hell out. Just want to give that preface as we go through some of the things that he was talking about. So in a 45-minute detention hearing, prosecutors detailed how the crime against Shaheen and her son allegedly unfolded. So Czuba's wife told detectives that he believed he was in danger, and his tenant, Shaheen, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday, but obviously the folks that he attacked were his tenants, was going to call Palestinian friends to come and harm them. That's what he thought. They were going to call some Palestinian friends to come and harm him. Czuba's wife, who wasn't home at the time of the attack, told detectives that he had withdrawn $1,000 from his bank because he believed that the grid would go down. He was also worried about the National Day of Jihad, which was supposed to be last Friday. And even though nothing happened on that day, he told his wife that he believed something would happen the next day without specifying what. Again, more parallels between the way people think, the QAnon folks and the Trump folks. If the prediction of disaster or culmination of some kind of event doesn't happen, like when JFK and JFK Jr. and Marilyn Monroe and then any other folks that have passed away showed up in Dallas for the past 7 years that they've been waiting on them. When it doesn't happen, you just go, oh, it'll probably happen the next day. Actually, what they told them was the next day, and they continue to have these followings. So in this case, once the prediction of some National Day of Jihad didn't go down the way he thought it was, the only way to keep your hate flowing, because that's actually the purpose for this guy's life, the only way to keep that hate flowing is to say, let's just go ahead and postpone it to the next day so I can get my bloodthirst really pumping higher. Details about how this is not just a one-off type of event. There's been a spike in Islamophobia, according to the Council of American Islamic Relations. In a news release issued earlier this week, CARE Chicago reported a spike in hate calls, emails as a result of the violence in the Middle East. The dozens of messages that the organization received in recent days rivaled the amounts received following the September 11th terror attacks and former President Trump's travel ban targeting Muslim majority countries, according to the group. So this is what we've got. He's apparently motivated by pundits and conservative talk radio, because they've been saying things similar to what, I'm not sure if you saw this, David, that Jesse Waters then said after this horrific murder took place, which was, I don't see the difference. Jesse Waters on Fox News, I don't see the difference between Palestinians and Hamas. When I see someone that has a gun, they're Hamas. When I see them without a gun, they're still Hamas. I can't tell the difference. As you can see, the reason other countries don't let them in is because anytime one person has been let into any other country that's Palestinian, they regretted that decision. All these things just blatantly said, which would make people like this Shaheen guy go, look, Jesse Waters, who's on television, told me that if you see a Palestinian, that they're just like Hamas. Therefore, if a 6-year-old boy is at his house, I'm gonna murder him. My tenant, because he's coming to get me. Maybe that 6-year-old kid is gonna make a phone call to other Palestinians, wherever the hell they may be, and they're gonna come and kill me. So therefore, I gotta kill them first. Maybe if we think about our rhetoric and the way we talk about certain folks and seeing them as animals or less than that, maybe these things will stop happening. If the people who are saying it actually want these things to stop happening. I get the feeling that they don't, though, David.
Well, to murder, I mean, somebody in the way that, this man, murdered a 6-year-old, you have to dehumanize and say, well, this isn't a 6-year-old, this is, a certain class of people that are less than human. And how do you reach that conclusion that somebody is not worthy of humanity? Well, there are a lot of different things you take in. And one of them is, sadly, conservative media that will not make the distinction between Hamas and will not make the distinction between Hamas and Palestinians. And so as a result, they condition their audience to, as you point out, to treat all Muslims as being exactly like Hamas. Likewise, there are some people who will say that every Israeli is just like Netanyahu, who wants to bombard the Palestinians. And that's so when we can't draw distinctions, when we can't show the complexities and take an intelligent approach in terms of how we talk about this and speak in realities about how we speak about what's going on here, then you start to take the people who are sort of maybe have a screw loose in their head or don't have the best sort of judgment or rational thinking, and they're the ones who then act on this stuff. And we have a huge population, I think, in the United States and around the world, frankly, of people who will take pieces of information and it doesn't take much to trigger them. Well, maybe there's not much we can do to try to keep these people from their violent outbursts. But at the very same time, we should at least expect our media, the voices that these people hear, to be responsible, to be respectful of humanity. And clearly that's too much to ask, particularly of, the Jesse Waters and some of the conservatives that are out there.
I wonder what the point is. Because listen, I haven't been saying much about this at all. Mostly because I think I mentioned this before, David. What is what I'm thinking about this going to do for all those children being murdered? I don't care which background, country of origin, and ethnicity that they are, religion and all that. Because rhetoric actually leads a lot of people to other actions. So when you say one thing or do things a certain way, or even the way that many leaders are doing and slanting things, whichever direction that they may slanting it, people act off of that. And do we care? I've said it also before when it comes to guns or anything else that we have, when it comes to crimes and death in this country, some folks like to go for the punitive approach and others want to prevent it. And many times the punitive approach is conservatives. It's, well, as long as, after that gunman kills 35 more people in a school, then we'll get him. How about we try to stop him from that point of killing 35 kids in their school? Preventative measures. So if we're talking about a very tense subject like this, where people are being killed indiscriminately, and you see many people seeing these videos and how horrific from either side of these attacks, people are being murdered like this. If we then go for this vengeful society that we're in and say, look at those beautiful rockets flying over innocent civilians' heads, it's going to be wonderful because I want effing revenge about what hurt me so much. Instead of thinking, how do we stop this cycle of pain? How do we stop doing this over and over and over again in many different ways? Instead, we got people who literally have said, Hamas is just like the Palestinians, and Palestinians and Hamas are just like Black Lives Matter, or just like libs here, or just like people who said and support Palestinian lives. They like to equate this, and now they're bringing it over here to have the same type of reaction and same type of end game here. So if you equate the two people that you've already said are nothing and nobodies and deserve to be dismantled and body parts flung all over the ground, if you say that and you want to bring it here, that's an intentional conversation. What is it that you're trying to get going here from your perch up at Fox News or wherever hell else you're broadcasting from? Is it chaos? Is it more death? Is it money? Do you think this is now more attention on your show? So let's just say horrific, devastatingly murderous things. I'm just trying to limit the way that I'm talking about this because, we can't.
Well, I think there's also a laziness, right? A laziness that a lot of commentators have, that it's a lot easier just to label an entire people based on one label than to express the reality that people are complex and societies are complex. If somebody had said, because in 2016, oh, shame on every American because Donald Trump, a Republican, was president of the United States, and didn't account for the fact that, no, actually more people voted against Donald Trump, we would look at those people and say, you're crazy, you're stupid to assume that all Americans agree with Donald Trump. But that's the same thing that is happening now, that there's some idea that all Palestinians support Hamas or all Israelis support the bombing of Gaza. I mean, it's stupid. And what it does is it causes misinformation, and it causes the people who are low information media consumers to then act out on some irrational thoughts that they may already have.
Sit in the middle of somewhere in Nebraska and you just have these thoughts. You think that you have it all figured out. And many of us don't. Many people in power definitely don't.